Hello and welcome to Redshirt Cinema Club, a podcast about fandom and watching movies with friends. Today we start our new mini-season of modern genre movies with the 2018 horror classic Hereditary, directed by Ari Aster and starring Toni Collette. Dave and Nath have never seen this before, and it's one of my all-time horror favourites. So, what will they make of this fun family adventure? Let's find out. Hello and welcome to Redshirt Cinema Club. I am your host, naked cultist Robert Pearson. We are joined today by long-suffering husband and father Nathan Dighton.
Hello.
And headless pigeon David Jackson.
Oh, I'm both.
I called it. I
thought you might just be the head.
Right. I can't believe Nate got Steve. Unbelievable.
Steve. I couldn't even remember Steve's name.
I think headless pigeon is lazy, Rob. Lazy writing. Lazy. I expected better from you.
I'm sorry. What would you prefer?
I don't know. Well, I prefer
headless,
probably anything.
exhumed corpse?
Yeah, it might be slightly better. In my human form.
It's the start of our mini-season where we each pick a genre movie from the past 15 years to show to the class. This week, I have picked the 2018 horror film Hereditary, the debut picture from writer and director Ari Aster, who has since gone on to direct Midsommar in 2019, a Wicker Man-flavoured horror starring Florence Pugh, the dark comedy Beau is Afraid in 2023, starring Joaquin Phoenix, and as recently as just 2 weeks ago, the modern western Eddington, once again starring Joaquin Phoenix, alongside Pedro Pascal, Emma Stone, and Austin Butler. So he's sort of surfing around the genres, Ari Aster. But to Hereditary then, a supernatural horror movie that shares DNA with genre classics such as The Exorcist, The Omen, Orphan, The Conjuring, movies where
all my favourites.
A demonic entity invades a domestic setting, often possessing a child. But Hereditary, I would argue, does it with a little bit of a twist. So, Nath and Dave, am I right in saying neither of you had seen this film?
Correct.
Previously. Yes. I think that's a first for this podcast. Film that just I've seen. I'll ask both of you, what were your preconceptions of this film and what was your immediate reaction having seen it? Dave, we'll come to you first.
My preconception was that it was one of the scariest movies ever. But brilliant, brilliant, well done. Unfortunately, I had to make a video about this for we do some work with Netflix from time to time, and about 5 years ago, I guess I had to make a video about Hereditary. So I only knew one thing about the movie.
Was it the big thing?
It was the big thing. Oh. So
that's a shame.
It was a shame. Luckily, I was watching it with my partner who hasn't seen the movie, as well. So I got to see her reaction to the big thing.
We should say right now that if you haven't seen Hereditary, you probably shouldn't listen to this episode.
That's true of most of the episodes of this podcast.
But I think especially with this one, I would say.
Especially.
Because this is Rob's film.
Yeah, this is Rob's film, that's right. And
but it's such a big plot twist. Don't spoil it for yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
I guess that was it. It was, not a film I was ever going to watch personally because I felt it was too scary. I do find horror intriguing and I'm curious about it, and sometimes I will create the conditions and within which to be able to watch something that I'm, and I might watch it slowly, like I'm following some breadcrumbs over a period of time, or with the lights on, or whatever.
Like 10 minutes a day.
I haven't ever done that, but I'm not against the idea of, if it's getting too much, maybe pausing it and just going to the bathroom and whatever. Hereditary wasn't even on that sort of scale. I just decided I wasn't going to watch it. So now that was my preconception of the movie, and I didn't realise it was Ari Aster's first movie, debut movie. That's quite an achievement.
Yeah, his first sort of major release.
Yeah,
he directed some short films and a few little bits and bobs before that. So what was your? Well, I'll come to you, Nath, for your preconceptions then, and then we'll get both of your immediate reactions.
Yeah, mine was similar. It was something I've been meaning to watch, but without ever settling down and having the specific
Oh, do you know what I fancy?
motivation
I fancy watching Hereditary.
to watch. And because I don't feel the same as you do about horror, but I
No.
don't like love horror.
No.
So I've seen, I put this in a similar bracket with horror of the last sort of 15 years. Like I really enjoyed Get Out, less horror, but Under the Skin or It Follows. Like I really liked It Follows.
I've not seen that.
And so this was, on the level where I'd seen the excitement about it, and I was open to it, but without ever having the right moment. And then I think once I'd missed it in cinemas, I don't know if I would rush out and see it at the cinema, but then I didn't really want to watch it at home either. So it was on Netflix, and I knew that we'd done a bit on it, and I guess I'd been waiting for the right moment and deliberately avoiding spoilers. So I would move away from online discussions of it. Although annoyingly very recently, I did see the big thing spoiled.
Oh,
I know.
I don't believe that. That was one of the big questions I had.
Yeah. I mean, but I read it in such a way that I assumed it happened at the end of the film. So it was still quite shocking. Although at the moment when she puts her head out the car window, I thought, oh, it's about to happen now.
How are they going to do this at the end?
I guess the head goes back on.
Yeah, it's foreshadowing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So what did you think, Dave?
What did I think? I don't know. Don't know what I thought. I mean, I found it difficult to watch. I was just scared the whole time, and I find it difficult to watch things. So horror comes in many different forms. Obviously, there are types of horror that I particularly dislike, and I don't know if I know exactly what they are. It's probably the cheap tricks, like jump scares and things. There's not many jump scares in this movie.
There's no cheap tricks in this.
Well, you get
No.
you do. Yeah, there are.
No, there aren't.
Well, yes, there's a bird that hits the window.
That's not a jump scare.
What-
You
what-
see it flying towards the window for at least 2 seconds. before
Only
it-
if you're lucky enough to have been looking in that direction. But, it's out of focus.
The
This-
observant viewer, David.
That's right.
Would have seen it.
Well, I actually did, but I'm just picking if that could be a jump scare to someone. The people, there's Tony Collette in the corner of the room at some points, and there's people in the darkness. There's lots of like little people in the darkness.
Little people in
naked
the
people
darkness.
near the end in the darkness.
Yeah.
But I guess this isn't a movie really of jump scares, but my body is just waiting for a jump scare. I feel like it's a movie I would almost like to watch again. It's like I need to know what kind of movie it is because I'm sort of like my senses are heightened and I'm just sort of on edge waiting the whole time. So whilst I'm taking it in, I don't think I can enjoy it quite as much as it deserves. It's not to say I didn't enjoy it. I'm very glad that it's over. I enjoy the structure of it. I enjoyed the twists and turns and like the overall kind of tale. I really enjoyed. There's some, do you know what the real thing that got me? I was quite annoyed at you actually, Rob. I just found the grief of Charlie's death incredibly upsetting.
Yeah.
I think
Why
Tony
are you annoyed
Collette's
at me?
because you made me watch this film. Tony Collette's performance is outstanding.
Yeah, it is great.
I mean, she's famously really good at acting, and she's done it again in this movie. But that scene, just in particular, it stuck with me for a good 15 minutes after it was over. Not the horror of it's the whole thing is great. Obviously, there's the accident, whatever. You don't really see. It's inferred what's happened or implied. I never know which one is which, and then I was horrified by I've forgotten the son's name. Peter. I was just like imagining being Peter, and he's gone home, and it's like, how is he gonna deal with this situation?
I really
and he
enjoyed
just
that.
doesn't deal with it.
That is the. I think you've really hit for me what struck me when I first watched this film was how physically sick I felt for probably a good half an hour after that had happened.
Yeah.
Just how effective it is of when it comes to. You've talked about it before, Nath. We're so conditioned on how to react based on how characters have reacted in the film. And he's not there screaming in the car, oh my God, no, what have I done? It's just a horrible, sickening, numb denial.
Yeah, I really like.
Won't quite look in the back as he sees
I
a
really
little
liked how he
bit
doesn't
of it
look in the
rear
review
view mirror. No, I can't look. And then that shot the following morning where it's just focusing on his face.
Yeah.
And you hear Annie going out the door
For something really mundane.
and you know,
just pop into the shop.
just awful.
What I really like that bit as well, and it's funny because I think horror, in lots of horror films, people are confronted with things that there isn't like a realistic register for in terms of reaction. You know, you see like a big monster. Like when someone sees Godzilla, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
What I like what it really reminded me of, and luckily I couldn't think of any specific. I don't know if this is like me imagining really bad things happening and then how I'd react to them, but the fact that he was kind of living like in not turning around and being just stopping the car and being there for a very long time. He was prolonging the moment of before that thing had happened, and that there are times when sometimes if I hurt myself and and I really don't want to think about how long it's going to be until I've gone over on my ankle and I felt it pop, and I just don't want to think about the fact it's going to be 4 months until I can like walk around properly again. You sort of just live in this nice moment of the before time before you accept all the realities of the thing that's happened.
Yeah.
And I guess I've often thought, or I used to think when I was a kid, like about what if a really bad thing happened? Do you know what I mean? What if I like ran someone over? I would never be able to get over it. What if I murdered someone?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then like that would always be a thing that had happened. And he's living in that moment of having to, or actually he puts it off until the next day, but like having to live in the moment of that, have it always being a thing that has happened.
Yeah, I think that was the most horrible thing about this movie was that not just that, but then the family. How does the family continue? Because he's kind of responsible I mean, he was driving the car, he was looking after his younger sister. It was like on his watch. He's kind of responsible. At the same time, like he says, like his mum made her go. She didn't want to go. Everyone's feeling guilty. Everyone's feeling not forgiving. Steve's there just trying to get by. Steve's holding the family together.
Good luck, Steve. And
it's like I just kept thinking, like when they're having that dinner scene, I was just thinking, I just don't know. How do you move on with your life? The horror of just going back to school. And just trying to smoke some weed with your friends or just study or just
trying
anything.
to smoke some weed with your friends and they've poisoned you with something which allows a demon inside you. I guess that what you say about the sort of the mapping of the horror onto the domestic side of things and the I guess the discussions or the area that it opens up for that kind of the interpretation of how these things could be horror. They could be quite relatable things that many families will deal with. And Toni Collette specifically, how good she was and how much of a performance and swinging from sympathetic to unsympathetic and going through those sort of moments and like heightened by the grief but the moments of disruption and sort of dispute with her family. That I was enjoying that loads, and I think that I think probably just like to answer to the hackney question from Rob about like how I reacted to the film, like it's brilliant. It's obviously a brilliant film, and I think that I was a little bit sad that I had waited until now to watch it because I'd already seen Midsommar, and I think it's quite a similar film in some ways, and I maybe slightly less accessible or just less to my taste. It was so much more Wicker Man, but then doing loads of these sort of intricate things. But then because I knew about that, once this film started to show those elements, which on a second viewing or on a discussion afterwards, especially for someone's first film, like quite, a little bit like we talk about Dark quite a lot, but like will tie together and really work. As soon as it started to do that, I thought, everyone in this family is fucked. The bad guys are definitely going to win. This is going to play out. And so like all of that tension was gone for me. I wasn't in those final moments going, oh no, Peter's
going to come round.
I was like, that demon's definitely coming to Earth. Yeah. Like this is a fate complete.
The demon's going to win.
Yeah.
Well done, demon.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Nate, just about the levels and things, because I did feel like I was enjoying this film, that's the wrong word, watching this film at a surface level. As in, I felt, and partly that's kind of what I was saying about being scared, was I was like, my body was like, you can only sort of observe the surface level of this movie, because you're scared about all the scary things. But I felt aware that there would be other stuff in there that would be like great for discussion. And do you know what I mean? Like, and a second watch. Maybe it's because people are scared that they need a second watch. But like, I felt like there was probably some metaphor and stuff going on. There's like, it's such a decision to make Annie a miniature artist, and the house being full of miniatures, and she's making miniatures of her own life. I just was like, I'm just going to accept this as I'm just going to take it as it is. She's an artist who makes miniatures. What more do you want? But I'm sure that there's a lot.
He really held it together when he came in and saw just detailing of the head of their dead child. And
then looks to his right and sees his dead mother-in-law with her breast out to breastfeed their daughter.
Yeah,
great work.
Poor Steve.
Just another 6 months. Steve is
the movie doesn't care what he's going through really ever. Like it's Peter is grieving, Annie's grieving, Steve must be grieving.
I think he is.
But
he's also like someone's got to be the glue.
He's also taking the phone call from the insurance company. You're like, the grave has been desecrated, and I won't tell Annie this. I'll deal with this.
Yeah.
Justice for Steve.
Poor Steve.
Yeah,
and he doesn't believe it. He still doesn't believe it, and then he gets set on fire.
Steve.
Quite horribly. I like his silence in fire. Just.
Oh, for God's sake!
Of course. Wow, this makes sense.
He has just about 5 minutes ago found that Annie wasn't lying about the exhumed headless corpse in the attic. He's like, for God's sake, I'll go up here then. And like his little scream is like, oh God! And he just climbs back down the ladder. Right, what we're doing now? Burning a diary. For God's sake. Okay.
Let's not do that. Let's go straight to the police. Shall we do the police? They can't help us.
It's funny what you were saying, Dave, about the two kind of about the level of the symbology and plotting, I guess, and then the level of emotional reaction and the sort of the analog onto real trauma and grief. And I don't know what I think about it. Like, in a way, the two, how sophisticated and complete and consistent that stuff is, and how that is the draw for loads of nerds who will go back and piece it all together and say, oh, you saw that this word was written here. Well, that's why she flew at the end. And I don't think it's quite on that level, but it does tie together. And in a way, that's so locked in that it almost, for me, takes away from I want it to exist as it could just be
I agree.
trauma. And then because it's so tied together, it's like, it's not trauma, it is
an actual demon. That is 100% what I feel about it, in that I wish I could, if it right at the end, it's like, he goes up into the treehouse, all of the naked cultists are there bowing down. I didn't like the speech at the end where she was like, oh, Payman, we'll pray to you, blah, blah, blah. Hail Payman, don't need to say that. Just let him go in there, see all the stuff, and it's up to you to piece it together. I would love to be questioning, like Steve is throughout the entire film. Is Annie doing all this without realizing it? Is she losing her mind? Because she is right. She is onto something. Everything she's saying is true. She's not paranoid. But I wish it had left that as more of a question than it does. Like, I don't want to see the chalk literally writing stuff on the chalkboard. I don't want to see the drawings in the diary literally happening supernaturally in front of my face. I don't want to see any supernatural stuff.
It's funny because there are some scenes where it happens when she's watching the drawing, she's alone, and you get the sense this could be some kind of episode.
Yeah.
When she's with Joan and the chalkboard is writing itself, there is very little explanation for that apart from, there is a spirit in this room. And even, I guess it comes down to, it was making me enjoyably think about spiritualism and seances, and the whole point about, well, not the whole point, but in a seance, obviously the key strength of having them in the dark and having everyone touch the thing which you're moving is that the human agency is obscured in some way. But in that, when the glass just starts moving on its own, you're kind of like, well, I guess this is just happening.
Yeah.
And the movie is maybe more interested in its in that the little references that it's making to the mat, or, you know, like already asking you to put together and tease through those things, which is, I don't know, it's this is kind of what I mean. I'm not sure that it does. I'm not sure that it should really lessen the other stuff, because it's still there. And again, it's like it's there in Toni Collette's performance, like you said about.
I don't think it lessens it, but it's just like a personal nitpick, I guess.
Yeah,
I
same.
wish this movie could have been made even more for me.
Isn't it funny that Toni Collette's also the mum in The Sixth Sense?
Yeah,
the other scariest film ever.
Yeah,
it's very scary, isn't it? that
My
film?
parents always used to watch Muriel's Wedding. I don't know,
Yeah.
which I believe she's in, and so
Yeah.
she's Muriel.
Yeah.
So I've only ever seen like the last 15 minutes of Muriel's Wedding, but
I'm gonna go get married, mate.
yeah, Toni Collette is just forever Muriel for me. Whenever she turns up in anything, I'm like, oh god, she's really good.
Yeah.
She's not just Muriel.
She's really good at doing a scary face, isn't she? Or a terrified face.
Yes.
Look scared. Toni
Or an
Collette.
angry face.
Yeah.
I would have been quite scared as to have her as my mum.
Yeah.
She can do a good angry face, but
She did such good. Well, the film does such good. Like I said, sympathy hopping in the, and I guess the stuff I would probably enjoy rewatching this film. The eulogy that she gave was interesting at the time, and obviously way more important than you perhaps, you know, you're sort of watching it going, oh, this is the emotional background of the stuff. Sure, the mum was distant, and then in terms of sort of the narcissism which comes through from her character at a certain couple of points, and how I guess the scene with Peter, is it the dinner scene straight as soon as Charlie's died, she really loses her shit with Peter.
there's a bit of time, but yeah.
That was really where I think for the first time she kind of tipped over into that this isn't someone just dealing with grief, it's someone who's like really tipping over into being unkind to people that she should be protecting, and I think that's probably incredibly well judged and well put together. And then like later, again, you can sympathize with someone looking for answers and looking, again, like the whole kind of spiritualism thing, just wanting to grab onto, in your grief, to grab onto the idea that this person, like the lost, might exist in some form or still be present. And she's sort of resistant to that whole thing. And then the bit, again, that kind of really got me was Steve's sad patience with what are we doing in this room? Why are you doing this? Knowing that it's damaging, knowing that it might be harmful to Peter, maybe wanting it to play out because it might be therapeutic for her in some way. And her sort of really anxious insistence that they do it. And she knows it's crazy, but come on, let's have a look and do it. I think that her portrayal is probably an unpleasant person when, you know, the movie's called Hereditary, and it is literally about demonic possession passing down through generations, but it's also about how mental illness, but also just how that kind of, I don't want to say trauma, I don't want to throw that word, although someone's fucking head pops off, I'm going to say the word trauma.
Well, it's very traumatic, but then also just even without all these incredibly dramatic and horrific events that have happened, you can recognise, I guess, any family can probably relate on some level to that rot of resentment setting in. And I think the film uses space amazingly well. Like that opening shot where it shows the miniature of the house and it slowly zooms into the miniature and it becomes Peter's actual bedroom. There's so much space between the characters all the time. Like there's a gulf of space between the door when Steve comes in and Peter when he's in his bed.
So the house is massive, which is something I thought about
and
quite a
they're
lot
often
watching this movie.
dwarfed by these corridors and large open living rooms, and there's a real kind of thickness in the air during that dinner scene, which is, you know, it's horrible. Like I think we've mentioned Toni Collette, but I think Alex Wolff is amazing in this film, and I think they were both completely overlooked when it came to awards season. That season, neither of them even got a mention in any of the nominations for anything. I thought they were both extraordinary.
It's just the genre movie thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
I guess
it's definitely playing against them.
But I thought, you can probably dig in, as you said, Dave, to what is the symbolism behind Annie being like a miniature artist. There's probably lots to say there about, you know, control and who's really in control of everything. And how they're all being viewed constantly. The way the rooms are shot. The rooms are shot so much like we're looking into a doll's house the whole time. It's
well, also sometimes the exterior they use a
They
technique called tilt shift, which is you can use a special lens and it basically makes big wide shots of landscapes have lots of depth of field so that only a small amount is in focus, and it gives this effect that it's like that you're viewing a miniature, and they use that as well, but not all the time. So it's interesting. I'd probably, again, something I would watch and see when it's deployed and what that might mean, rather than
It's funny about the house, isn't it? Because it is huge, and it does make me think about, people often talk about how many millions the house from Home Alone is worth. And It's supposed to be like these regular people with their $5 million house or whatever it is, and just how houses are. I guess like talking about like the whole horror aspect, how they pop up in dreams and Freudian analysis so much because there's something deep rooted in the psychology of the places where you exist and the geography of like especially the places that are most familiar to you, and so many dreams take place in houses, or sometimes you revisit old houses, and you sort of how many horror films are about being in your home being intruded upon, flights through doorways or upstairs, and I think that what that means is like this tradition of cinema where so many horror movies take place in like exceptionally beautiful or unusual houses, which are do make these families less relatable to me. Like, fuck you and your incredibly beautiful house on this mountain in a forest, you bastards.
Yeah.
That tree house is unbelievable.
Yeah, I know. Someone's perched on 3 tree trunks.
I was like, did they grow them deliberately and then cut them down so they could build this incredible tree house?
It's probably a hereditary tree house. It's been planted, by 2 generations before.
Cultists.
Yeah.
The one shot of the house which really, well, lots freaked me out really, but like in a weird way got me was when Steve was chopping dinner, and then like the arrangement of the house is such that they could put the camera behind him and look at the front door.
Yeah.
And then pizza came in, and I was like, what the fuck? What's going on? Just chopping in the lobby.
Yeah, I know. I did have the same thought, actually.
The lobby.
Yeah. I don't like, I thought that, when I say I don't like, I mean, it made me feel uneasy. The constant moving of the camera, so much slow creeping of the camera.
Yeah.
And it made me think of Resident Evil a little bit, I guess, which is not the same thing. It's like, I just really became aware of the limitations of the field of view of a camera and how that is used effectively to make you. There's like usually we're sort of going forwards, which is the thing I always hate in horror games. It's like, I like to stop. Being able to stop is the best thing. But like the camera is just, we're going forwards. There's a bit where we're following Peter. I can't remember what's happened, but he like walks around a corner and he's out of view, and the camera doesn't speed up or cut. It just, we continue at our pace and then go around the corner. It's just very effective at heightening the sense of, I don't know, just the sense of horror, I suppose, that I'm going to find out what's around this corner. I don't know what it is, and I'm scared to look, but it's happening. The camera's just constantly moving, and it's just quite creepy and unsettling. Can I quickly synopsize the movie, because I feel like towards the end I lost it a little bit. Maybe I think I've got everything.
Sure.
But like basically the story is that there's a lady who,
let's start from the fucking beginning.
She's a cult leader, and her cult wants to resurrect or call down this demon. Call up, I assume.
Yeah.
Call up this demon
One of the 8 kings
for
of
untold riches, I think is what the conjurer receives. Untold riches, I think the book said. And the demon needs a male body, and the woman was estranged from her daughter when she had a boy.
Yes.
But came back into her life when she had a daughter.
Yes.
And so sort of tried to get the demon into Charlie.
Yes, and as Charlie
succeeded to some degree.
To some degree.
Charlie does say, "Grandma wished I was a boy."
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why she's sort of so invested in Charlie when she's growing up. And then, but obviously it doesn't kind of work because the demon needs a male body. And so then the rest of the events of the film are all about getting the demon into Peter.
Yeah.
so that the demon can be
Happy.
And what I didn't fully grasp was what happened, what changed in Annie when Steve is immolated.
No,
Now she becomes like
I believe she's possessed at that point. That was my read, and I think that there is.
It's not super important, but I was like, what's going on here?
Well, it does. Yeah, I think this is it, isn't it? Because I do resist there is. I don't want to like ruin the fun of the people who are kind of like, well, this means this and this means this, but it's not what I love. Like a film as a puzzle is like not necessarily like, especially on a first watch. I kind of want the film to be sweeping me along, and I guess at that moment I was just like, wow, shit's hit the fan.
Yeah,
it's all popping off. You know what I mean? That's all I needed. As soon as someone's flying, I'm like, I guess that's probably not Annie anymore. Like,
yes, very true.
There's that moment, I think, where it's very obviously that something's gone into her. After she's burnt Steve, and her reaction is like, oh my God, and her face just switches from terror to, oh, I've got something in me now. And then the next time we see her, she's just on the wall in Peter's bedroom. How long did it take you to notice her there?
Quite soon I saw her. Yeah.
Like,
my senses are heightened.
It's like seeing a spider.
This is how this is the problem is I was watching the movie like that all the time, and there would be nothing to see, but I'm like, what is it? What's going to scare me? What's going to scare me? All the time. I think like right from the start, I don't know if this was intentional or if you guys saw it the same way, but the very opening shot of the camera going into the miniature of Peter's bedroom,
bastard beautiful house.
Yeah, you see it from a long way away, you know, the miniature obviously to begin with, and my eye was immediately drawn to, I think, what is like a camera on a tripod with a sheet over it. I don't know if either of you noticed this, but from far away, it just looked like a dark presence stood over a bed. And so whether that is intentional or whether it's just my kind of sort of, you know, horror senses tingling, over tingling. But so right from the start, I was just like, oh God, like looking for stuff like that. I was like, there's always like second reads. There's something in here that's going to scare me. There's something hovering over Peter's bed.
Well, there's that moment is it where he wakes up and he sees what he thinks looks like Charlie in the corner. And then he looks again, and it's like a coat hanging over a chair.
Yeah.
But it looks to us somehow as well.
Yeah, it was
like
well
a
done.
person.
It did.
Probably was.
So I don't know how they did that.
Yeah.
Very well done.
And there was that shot quite a little bit further on where he just sees an embodiment of Charlie in the corner of his room, and then she turns into a ball, and that match on action where her head falls off and turns into a ball really reminded me of you know that guy on Instagram Reels and on TikTok, and he is just in an orange coat, and then he falls forward and his head turns into snow and just spreads across the table.
Maybe they got him to do that bit.
Funny on TikTok, terrifying in
Get that
Hereditary.
TikTok guy in here.
Yeah. How did you do that? You just stop the camera here
shot.
and then start it again. The clicking, the tongue click. That's the demon, right? That's the.
I think that's like the calling card of the demon.
When Peter clicks his tongue, that's when he's
that's
become.
when we know he's got the demon in him. Yeah.
Because he jumps out the window as Pete. Is he okay? Do we think when he lands?
I think he's. I don't know, but that bit, he lands on the floor, and you hear with increasing frequency, Annie obviously going at her own head.
Oh, so horrible!
You just hear that, and then it stops, and you hear like as her head's obviously hit the floor. That's when the demon is obviously released from her. Then you see it, that little light that you see constantly throughout the film. And it was interesting seeing it on second watch, just seeing that light almost from the very beginning constantly. Yeah. Sometimes it looks like a little bit of lens flare. Other times it's very more obviously a supernatural thing.
I was pretty aware of it. I don't know. I think I'm just like hyper terrified, so vigilant. What was the bit where? Also I've been watching The Handmaid's Tale. I don't know if either of you have seen it. We've been watching it very slowly for years now, and we're sort of. I think
something you want to make last.
Yeah, we're on the penultimate season, and it's funny because Joni is played by an actor who's in The Handmaid's Tale and it's just straight away it was like oh look, it's Aunt Lydia from A Handmaid's Tale, but she's a sort of she's quite a an evil character in The Handmaid's Tale, and I don't know whether that slightly,
Right.
whether
Fuck
I just
Joni.
didn't buy Joni because of the actor playing Aunt Lydia, or whether I'm pretty sure pretty soon you're supposed to question it. As soon as Annie is like, "Oh, this Matt looks exactly like what my mother used to make," and she's just like, "Oh, right, never mind." It's like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here. I don't know how much people bought into Joni the first time. How much of a twist that is when she goes back to see her and she's actually.
It was quite a twist for me. I think when I first watched it, all of the twists just worked very well on me, because I didn't know what type of film I was watching, and it is a shame that both of you had the big twist spoiled for you before watching, because I felt like one of the very interesting things about Hereditary is all of the trailers, all of the marketing focuses very much on Charlie.
Yeah.
And going into it, everyone's thinking, it's going to be one of those films where there's like a
Charlie
demon-possessed child. And it starts off very much like that as well. She's at the funeral of the grandma. She's sitting there clicking, drawing pictures of the grandma's corpse. And we're like, this fucking kid.
Cutting the head off a dead pigeon.
Cutting the head off the pigeon, just doing creepy looks.
Making little weird toys.
Sleeping up in the treehouse when it's freezing cold. She doesn't mind, though.
Yeah.
And then half an hour in, her head comes off.
Yeah.
And it's very obviously it's the big event of the story, but also quite symbolic, I think, in telling the audience this isn't the type of movie you thought it was going to be. That was just very shocking for me.
It opens up this incredible space where immediately, yes, you're right. It's not just like this isn't the movie you think it's going to be, but there was a couple of moments of me just going, what is going to happen? Which is like quite unusual in a horror film where you at least kind of know the direction of travel. But I was kind of thinking, what now is the focus, or is going to be what things am I going to be invested in? Where is the horror going to come from?
Yeah.
It turns out everywhere.
Yeah.
It's going to come from everywhere.
Yeah.
Did you have any other questions for us, Rob?
Well, I was going to ask about specifically some of the scenes. I wanted to talk about the miniatures. I wanted to talk about the performances as well. I think we've talked a little bit about Toni Collette's, but Alex Wolff's performance I just think is so good. Like in particular, his reaction when the thing happens. It's just amazing bit of acting. Like he almost gets the phrase out. I think he says something like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
And then he sort of stops himself, and of course she's not. Just the way he sort of like you can see it going through his mind, the unbelief, the refusal to accept, and then just the way the car you can hear the little squeak of the clutch as he puts it back down, just like
Yeah.
and then the car just slowly rolls off, slowly comes back, and that prolonged shot on his face the following morning is the most harrowing shot in the whole film for me. Just because I've never accidentally decapitated my sister, but there are times when you fucked up, you done something bad, and you're just
Disassociate.
for whatever reason you're too whether it's cowardice or whatever it is, you can't quite tell the person who you've wronged that you've done the bad thing, and there's how do they find out? I found it so relatable when he's up there in his bedroom listening to his mother discovering the corpse, and then that's, like you said, Nate, that's the moment everything becomes real. It's his face probably for a good 20 seconds or so, and then the hard crash cut to Charlie's decapitated head on the road with the ants crawling all over it.
Yeah, extremely graphic as well. Like in it, not in a. It was so horrible.
Yeah,
and I think that the the curious. This is horror. It's like the classic sort of car crash. It's literally a car crash. You don't want to look, but you can't look away. Kind of. I think it's sort of a necessary shot, is what I'm trying to say. It's like people want to know.
There's the cars going past as well
in the background.
Like cars just driving past, and you just see a nondescript just object on the road. What's that?
Yeah, and
it's just a child's head.
Yeah,
with the ants eating it.
I thought, again, in terms of the thing which I really did enjoy about the film, I kind of mentioned, is the accuracy and the observation of people's emotional states and reactions in the heightened stuff, but in the non-heightened stuff as well, just how you might act at your mum's funeral or how grief affects different people. And I thought it was the most honest reaction that you could possibly have. Is his to this event, just in terms of like, he's a young man, he's got no faculty for dealing with the enormity of the thing, which has just happened to him, like shutting down and going to bed. And how do you like come home and tell your parents like that has happened? It's, I think that the film recognizing that it's a moment of like such ridiculous sort of weight is
because he's characterized very much before that as like he's just a teenage boy at school. You know, we get the shot of the girl he fancies. He's basically just looking at her ass as she sits in front of him. Yeah. He's going to a party, smoking weed. His chat line is, "Do you smoke? Because I got some weed." And they're like, "Okay, let's go and smoke some weed." He's just a very normal teenage kid at a party, and then he just turns into this tragic shell of a human being. There's that absolutely tragic shot at the after gathering for Charlie's funeral, where he's just viewing the events through that sort of like golden mottle, I don't know what you call it, that glass that's just deformed. He's looking at it through the deformed glass. And then you see the reverse shot of it, which is everyone at the party, and you just see the shape of him through the glass, just like watching. So clearly divided. So sort of deformed, like the shot of him is so deformed as we're looking at him through this glass. It's very effective. And then the shot where he literally bangs his head into the desk, which he actually did.
Yeah.
IMDb.
Yeah. Yeah. The computer graphics in a desk. So it's nice and spongy. But
I enjoyed the oddness of his whatever was happening to him. Joni had just tried to do a spell on him from across the road, and and then he goes into class, and whatever it seemed like she was trying to expel him from his own body. Which, I mean, imagine if that had worked, then I guess the body's just vacant then, because where's Pie Man?
I guess they're kind of sharing. Are they?
But I mean, is Pie Man ready? Do you know what I mean? Is he in the clip? Is he ready to be loaded into the chamber at that point? Because he's still in. I guess he's floating around.
You
somewhere.
see a little bit of him. I think you see the light in the classroom at that point, and he looks in the window, and his reflection is just like smiling at him.
Is that the same scene as after the as when he goes?
I can't remember specifically.
But I did like the unusual, and this is something that I read. I enjoyed in the moment the unusualness of his face. Like being like kind of like a stroke or a palsy, like half seems to be affected and half doesn't.
Yeah, well, the teacher draws attention to it, doesn't it? And you talked about a great performance. I thought of that specifically. He's like, "Peter, are you okay?" And we see his face, and he's like, "What is happening with his face?"
And I couldn't tell whether there's makeup or any kind of effects work going on. It was nice and or it could just be that he's managing to do something really unusual with his face. But and then like the oddness of the hand gesture, which is and the thing which I read was that is mimicked by the statue featuring Charlie's head in the cabin at the end. The statue's doing
I didn't see that.
The same thing, and I don't know if it has any sort of symbolic significance. But and in a way,
that's just like signaling for a bus, signaling for the demon.
Yes, one bus to hell. I liked how, but it also just looks like a horrible, tense reflex action. You know what I mean? If you're having some kind of fit or spasm, you might straighten your arm out and lock the wrist.
Well, as the parent of a baby, it's also just you realise they have no clue how to use their bodies whatsoever for ages, and it's sort of like that as well. Just like a demon in a fresh body, just going like.
Have you thought about
trying to
putting a demon in your baby?
No, but I am going to get him exercised now.
Yes,
I think
that's fair.
Weekly exorcisms, just in case. Yeah, just in case.
Do you see any names written on the wall?
Yeah, is that what that is? Oh, I thought that was some sort of new hobby she had.
No, calligraphy.
Yeah, just going back to Peter's reaction to decapitating his sister. I think it's again an incredible deployment of the classic sort of horror thing of letting us imagine it. And this time, I don't mean the decapitation. I mean imagining Annie discovering the body. Like, not only are we're witnessing his face and imagining how he is feeling, and he could stop it. He could go and say, "Don't go to the car." You know, he could do anything to just lessen the trauma for her, and he doesn't. And we're just seeing him being a passenger in his own body, just going like, you know, just unable to process what's happened and unable to process what's about to happen. But it also has that extra thing of, in my head, like, I have imagined her finding the body. I've imagined her going out, just, I'm going to the shops. You know, they get, it's an extra little horrible detail is that when he gets home the night before, you know, he walks in the front door, shuts the door, and you hear them say from their bedroom, like the parents, like, "Oh, they're home. Oh, good." Like, "Oh, they're back home."
I didn't. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, Steve says something like, "Oh, good, they're back home," something like that, and you're like, "Oh no, they're not." And so you know everyone's like, "Oh, everything's fine in our family. Everyone's safe. We can go to sleep."
Do you know the thing which stuck in my head around this sort of horrible moment, and I think that the one bit where the film really kind of lets go and has just like an outpouring of like just rage and grief is that scene of Toni Collette in the at the foot of the bed, and I found that very truthful again, but like incredibly difficult to watch. But the thing which really fucked me up was when she was talking about to Joni about the discovery of the body, because there would be like, definitely, I've thought about this horribly when you kind of read about other people discovering their kids. If there's any doubt at all, then there's going to be a tiny like flame of hope in just going, "Oh, this could be somebody else." Like, until I'm sure, I'm not gonna. And hers just saying like her head wasn't there, so of course there's going to be doubt.
Yeah,
I'm going to be thinking, is it a fucking hoax? Like, maybe it isn't one of my kids. And then just talking about how it was her hands and how like she became more and more sure. Yeah, like that moment of running through
fingernails.
Yeah, like discovering it, knowing, and then allowing yourself to not fully know for a few seconds. It's just like the films, again, like the observations on those small moments of and it comes from people kind of, you know, caring about each other and having bonds with each other, but then dragging out horror and trauma from it. Well done, film.
Yeah, but I do think that's what's going to stay with me forever from this film, will be not a little girl's head coming off, not a woman sawing her own head off, not people hiding in corners or any of that. It will literally be Peter and then Annie. Like, I did find Annie on all fours, just saying, "I just need to die." Yeah, it was just incredibly upsetting, and they sort of, it felt like a juxtaposition. The funeral as well, where she's just in pieces, she can barely stand. The juxtaposed to the first funeral, which was quite.
They put that shot in the trailer. They put that shot in the trailer of the coffin being lowered into the ground.
Right.
But just before in the trailer, we'd seen a shot from the grandmother's funeral. So again, it's just, you should go and watch some trailers maybe for Hereditary, because it's some expert trailer making.
Well, that's good work. I like that.
Really great misdirection.
I love some misdirection in a trailer. You don't often get it, but that sequence will just stay with me for a long time, I think. And again, just imagining what happened next? Like, how did they go and see Peter? What do they ask Peter? They just, it's just a horrible thought.
I don't know, like, what direction do you, I like imagining Ari Aster giving Toni Collette direction for the scene where she's like grieving, just viciously, violently grieving on the floor in her bedroom. Just like, daughter's just been violently killed, her head's come off, action.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know.
Have you heard the Peter Serafinovich talking about George Lucas?
Yes.
Or he's real evil.
Make him real evil.
And I guess maybe it's like that. You're sad.
Really sad.
You're real sad.
Yeah. It reminds me also of George Clooney. I think he was on the Graham Norton show describing Joel Schumacher directing him in Batman. Joel Schumacher was this, according to George Clooney, quite eccentric, camp gay man,
flamboyant fashion director.
He would say to George, "Okay, George, your family's dead. Your parents are dead. You're really sad, and action."
Joel Schumacher he designed the costumes for a film that I saw over the weekend called "Play It As It Lays." There's a little. And actually, we should talk about Gabriel Byrne, right?
I mean,
Who's Gabriel Byrne?
Steve.
Yes.
Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, the hero of the film.
He is the hero of the film. That's why I was, disappointed that Nath got Steve, even though he's
Hey.
burned alive.
I gave myself Naked Cultist.
Yeah.
Which one? Though?
Yeah,
The
I know which
smiling
one.
The one with the
Smiley one.
shriveled peen.
Did you
The
notice?
smiley one.
You probably didn't notice that they're there at the grandmother's funeral at the beginning.
Yeah, he
smiling
smiles.
at Charlie. There's a couple of them just waving at Charlie as well throughout the film.
Well, I didn't.
Couldn't miss that
Did
giant blonde man smiling.
I
at
saw
her.
the man smiling. I was literally going to say, what was that about? I didn't clock that. Now, yeah, that makes so much sense.
He's the first
obviously.
naked man you see in the house. Just you can see by his little smiley teeth. You're like, ah.
Do you know what, that guy popping
Yeah.
up in the cut? That was fucking brilliant. What? Because everything that's to deploy that at that moment, after everything which has just happened in the house, the discovery of the corpse in the attic, the burning, and then for there just to be a huge smiling man with his balls out.
It's just the one. They're so happy about it. They're in the attic,
They're loving
naked. They know that Pyman's about to be. Yeah, here he is. And they're just a little wave and a smile at Alex, which called Peter, which
Yeah.
causes him to jump out of the window.
You would.
They're obviously quite enjoying themselves in this film. The cultists having a great time.
Everything's
Well, they are.
coming to
Just
fruition.
orchestrating the car crash to some degree as well. Like there's the little symbols
Well, it's
carved
definitely
into
orchestrated.
the
I was going to talk
lamppost.
about that. I mean, that is the most cockamamie Roadrunner bullshit, isn't it? Just like, you must be so pleased when you pulled that off. Lads, it
We'll put-
fucking works.
We'll put a deer there.
We need to put nuts in the chocolate cake. That's where it's. We need to
Yeah.
make sure they're at the party.
Yeah.
We need to write the symbol of Pie Man
Well, I think-
on the
Yeah.
telegraph pole.
I think the idea is that
It's like, Steve.
Pie Man is in Charlie.
Yes.
Pieman. So I think there, to some degree, there's a little bit of communication going on. A little bit of, they are invoking him. They're speaking to him. So I think it's it's Pieman who through Charlie eats the cake.
Yeah.
There's like he is also trying. It's like the ring trying to get back to its master. He wants to get out.
Maybe you're right. This is like an interesting point of. I'm glad that we haven't run through and like joined all the dots and everything. But in terms of how much Charlie is aware, seems completely unaware of.
I mean, she's 13 years old. You'd think she'd know with a nut allergy not to just immediately go and eat a load of chocolate cake that she doesn't know what the ingredients are.
I guess that's true, but the kids are fucking stupid. And earlier on, you have that. I mean, again, I think the film is brilliant at catching these little things because there is a moment of Steve checking, hey, that earlier on, that chocolate doesn't have nuts in. So obviously, it suggests that in the past she has just eaten fucking chocolate with nuts in and has fucked it up. So I could see that she might do that. So to the extent to which Payman is aware of
Pie Man. We're just calling him Pie Man now.
itself in Charlie, I think is interesting. And it seems not to, because there's that horrible moment where, and I guess you read this in a couple of different ways, but where Toni Collette, where Annie is possessed for a few moments after the seance, and Charlie doesn't say, I'm a big fucking demon from hell, just says, Mum, where are you? What's going on? Why is everyone scared? And it just gives you I kind of like the idea that you're fresh and you just don't really know what's going on. The way that people lots of people discussing this have an idea of sort of a triptych separation for Pyman in terms of like the existing as the spirit which you see, and then existing as some kind of incarnation as the sun, which is the same as but not the same as. So Charlie being a form of Pyman, but not like the full. Not God,
No.
and then
Imperfect cell. It needs to
right.
It needs to absorb two androids first.
we're talking about Dragon Ball Z.
Right, good.
I don't know how. I mean, maybe that's literally it. I quite like the idea though that just Charlie was just young enough. But it's like it immediately makes me think. I'm pretty sure the stories about Jesus are like he's just a kid for ages, and then at some point he's like, "Fucking hell, I'm Jesus. I've come. What am I doing? I've been going to school. I've been eating crayons. That's not why I'm here. So maybe that was just about to happen. But even so, I feel like, just getting to the point where Charlie's leaning out of the the correct side, lining it all up, putting the deer in exactly the right place.
I think as soon as demons
I want to see
are
that.
real,
I want to see that bit where the naked cult. They're always naked.
Yeah,
you know?
they're in
just
the-
like put the deer there. There's the lamppost. One of them's got the feet. Putting it in the road.
yeah,
I've got one other question about the cultists, which
Okay.
is at the end, I really enjoyed the shot of, I believe it's Annie levitating into the tree.
Yes.
it is.
But her
Yeah,
head seems to be on. Is it just balanced?
No, I thought her head was off.
Or maybe it's blood cascading down her.
yeah.
I'm
I
Pretty
think-
sure her head's gone.
Fair.
Well, is it her head that's put on the?
No, that's Charlie's head.
Oh, it's Charlie's head.
Yeah.
Great.
I like that it's a
3
version
heads.
of the thing which she's been making the whole time, the little toys that she was almost compulsively putting together and then...
It's such a horrible image, that, isn't it?
Yes, correct.
Just the film's been leading up to this. Right, we're going to really show them something nasty now.
Yeah.
It's just a big doll thing with Charlie's head on it.
Yeah.
They've gone and got Charlie's head.
Oh yeah, you would.
Well, they've got Charlie's body as well, right? Charlie's body's the small black body. Is it? I thought they had, or is that the
That's the
grandma?
That's the
grandmother's
grandmother's body.
And then there's Annie's
fresh beheaded body.
Ah.
Well, does that suggest that they couldn't, the police couldn't find Charlie's head? Like, because
I thought it was because
the
the grave had been desecrated, but that's
the mum's grave.
grave.
This is what
The
I'm
mum's
saying
grave
is
has
you
been
don't hear about
desecrated.
the second. There's not a second desecration because that would be starting to get weird now. If you're Steve and you're getting another phone call from the cemetery and they're like, "Don't know what's going on. We've
Can
got
you not
CCTV
keep
in
any
now."
of our bodies in the ground.
But then
quite
they
hard.
can never have found her head, which I feel like is sort of
I think they probably
know.
looked, but the cultists probably got there first.
yeah.
I
They
imagine.
go, we had a look, can't
knew,
find it.
They knew where the lamppost was.
It's probably a coyote or something. Oh, just
Yeah.
having this conversation. Think of coyotes
Well,
eating your daughter's head.
I was going to say, in terms of the whole grief, there was part of first of all, was there an inquest? Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
Peter, what the fuck happened? But then there's also all right, we should go and get the head. Do you know what I mean? That is also quite a bleak
Yeah.
moment, isn't it? In
Definitely.
terms of the
Definitely
trauma.
would
I
have
mean,
to happen.
she knows very definitely what had happened because she's there making a little miniature of it.
Very true.
A
She knows where the head
a
is.
neutral view of the accident.
That was
she calls
hilarious. Yeah, I did. I enjoyed that very much.
It won't upset Peter. It's a neutral
it's all right.
view
It's
of
a
the
neutral view.
accident. This
It's
is
just a
what
fact,
happened.
isn't it? This is exactly what happened.
She said it's not about Peter, which I thought was fucking brilliant because he's in it. He's in the
Yeah.
car driving. It's not
Yeah.
about Peter.
Can you imagine her making Peter? You little bastard. Just gonna. What did we make of the strange sleepwalking episodes where she talks about in the past covering herself and Peter in paint thinner?
Yeah.
And waking herself up by striking the match.
Yes.
I
To apparently
enjoyed.
burn them all.
I enjoyed this when she was at the grief meeting.
Yeah.
And explaining
The
about her
griefing.
family history, I did get, I did get a sense that we were being given information that might be useful. I didn't pick up on all of this will be useful later information that the film was sharing, but in terms of the family history of psychosis, or was that like her father had psychotic depression, was it? And
Yeah,
her brother had
schizophrenia.
schizophrenia and accused their mum of trying to put people inside him, and then that was like, well, that's so specific that
Yeah.
a little bit of me just went, I bet that's true.
Yeah.
It was definitely true.
And then didn't really think about it. But then, in terms of like then using that logic onto her previous episodes, because there's episodes of her sleepwalking within the film, which I assume are down to the presence of the naked people and the actual king of hell that now lives in their house, that she is invoked. So I assume there's like some kind of possession or influence there. But in terms of the ones that have happened in the past, I read them. I have no reason to think they're anything apart from the disruption, anxiety, and sort of unhappiness of living with a mother who's put them through such terrible things. So, like human.
I suppose
Yeah.
now, because the scene that she describes specifically as being, because she says, like, I was stood next to your bed when you shared a room, like, and she'd covered everybody in paint thinner and was going to burn everybody. I suppose now, looking back, I can see that as, or I would read that as like some subconscious knowledge that they were all
Doom.
vessels for this evil demon, and so it was like, this is the only way to deal with this, is we all have to burn.
Just the admission to Peter as well that she didn't want him and that she tried to have an abortion.
Miscarriage,
but couldn't, or she tried to force a miscarriage, but was unable to do so.
But it's not an admission to
as
him,
if she was
because
protected somehow.
it was in her own head. Yeah, I did think that as well. It was in her own, I found that quite that was a brilliant scene as well, but then not real, because it was a dream. She was sleepwalking, but I kind of kept feeling for Peter afterwards that he'd just been told by his mother.
Yes.
We're talking about great performances. That scene between the two of them is really good. His just like,
why are you telling
distraught?
me?
Just yeah.
But yeah, I thought the vulnerability which he showed, and obviously I've had a son who's gone through that age where they can be both very grown up, very adult, and very sometimes like I don't think Peter's ever sort of aggressive, but like just approaching being a grown-up man, but then at other times still relate to you as and want to have the affection and comfort of a parent, and I found it incredibly painful in those moments where he just didn't fucking get any from. Actually, one mental note I made was, do not let my family see this film.
Why not?
Just because it's so accurate, you know what I mean? Like, so for better or worse, like, I haven't tried to put a demon in either of my children, but I just think it would be, I just don't want either of them to turn around and say, oh yeah, fucking exactly like that, because then I will have to decapitate them. So.
No, I agree. Like this film, when I first saw it, it did stick with me unusually potently for quite a long time. I was just thinking about it probably for 2 or 3 weeks, unpleasantly. Just and it was the guilt, like the guilt that you feel when you feel Peter's guilt so strongly. I think in the aftermath of the accident, but also the gulf between the family members, that horrible, awkward silence where you have to share this space with people who you're growing apart from, or you physically can't get the words out that you need to get out.
I thought that you said it really,
felt it very keenly.
You said it really well earlier, Rob, just in terms of how, like, looking at that scene, how can they ever get onto how can they get past this and move on to ground which is less painful? And again I felt the kind of truth of that, and then the experiences I've had where there has been sort of a grief or a horrible moment, and you can't blame, in that situation, you can't blame Peter for acting. Actually, I thought Peter was incredibly reserved, and Steve is doing his best to allow this to play out, because that's, people need to go through these things. And of all of them, Annie is probably acting the worst, or is allowing herself to, is really showing kind of an irrational side and perhaps a narcissistic side to herself. But then you kind of go like, these people are going through something unbelievable, so they all have to. And even though it makes it worse and they're knocking into each other, perhaps the best thing is just to let these things happen. And the only thing which can make them any better is kind of time and just moving forward. And I felt the way the film portrayed all of that, and also the grief of like a slightly more distant relative. Like, there's that moment where Steve says to Peter, "You all right?" And he was like, "Yeah, I didn't know him.
Feeling
really.
sad.
It's fine." Yeah. And he's like, "That's also fine. Maybe it'll pop up in a bit, maybe it won't, but just however you feel is how you feel." Yeah, it's very good, isn't it? Well done, the film.
Oh, I just realised at some point, Steve walks into the house and goes, "Oh, what's that smell?" And then goes upstairs and says to Annie, "What is that smell?" And she's trashed her art, and so it's forgotten about. It's just interesting that it was now I'm like, what was that smell? And it was probably the smell of the dead corpse in the attic. But I actually read a news story many years ago about a woman in Japan who ran over a pedestrian, and the pedestrian ended up in across the bonnet in the windscreen, and she drove for like another 20 minutes back to her house and just went into her house, and I guess was so shocked that she just completely disassociated and just pretended it wasn't happening. I wonder if that was in any way sort of
I can,
because that
like an influence. I can almost understand, like, because there are situations which I think I've got an innate response to.
Yeah.
And I know what to do. But decision making can be difficult, and especially in stressful situations. If someone and there's no roadmap for that. Do you know what I mean?
No.
It's not like if I see a fire, I know what I'm doing. If someone has fallen down on the street, I've got a decent idea. If I am responsible for someone being inside my car through the windscreen, I'm not sure I do know what to do.
It's a real thing. There's I think, is it the bystander effect? I think it's called the bystander effect. And I think it's a real thing where people can be so shocked by something that they just don't know what to do. And so they just carry on as if it's normal. And I saw a TikTok about it recently, actually. Someone was talking about a guy fell down the escalator in a London Underground and cracked his head. And she was saying how just everybody was just carrying on. Everybody was, because everyone was so shocked by it, they didn't know what to do. And then like somebody did something.
I think the bystander effect has also got to do with like the communal idea of who's going to take responsibility for it, right? Like,
right. Oh, okay. Maybe that would make more sense, like as in being a bystander rather than being so shocked by something that you don't know what to do and you just carry on. But I mean, it's definitely a real thing. I thought the weakest thing in the film was the box of answers, which is there the whole time, and right from the start, there's
box of answers.
There's literally a letter.
There's
literally a letter that says, "Oh, you're going to make loads of sacrifices, and it's going to be awful, but it'll be worth it in the end. Love, Mum." And she's just like, "Oh, weird." What that is, they've got.
I couldn't tell whether that was something which she'd put in there to be found after her death, or whether it was a historical thing.
Yeah.
But it's so in the mode of like, oh, here's my overbearing narcissistic mum, fuck off.
Yeah.
That I was like, that's, obviously I looked at it thinking the film is showing me this for a reason, but I also thought, that's fine.
I thought it was pretty on the nose. It was just like, to me, you said about knowing of Ari Aster's movies, you were like, oh, everyone's going to die. I was like, oh, okay, everyone's going to die. And, and on top of that, there's the sort of lovely diary, like the Grail diary, embossed with the cult symbol.
I was going to say, if say for 20 years I was in a cult and I was trying to raise a particular demon, let's call this demon Michael.
Right.
And and I had a book about Michael the demon.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm in that every day.
Yeah.
I don't need to remind myself by highlighting in yellow, like, don't forget that I am definitely going to resurrect Michael.
Yeah. But I think, like, I don't know, I feel like I can relate to that.
All the live,
like,
laugh, love posters.
Yeah, exactly.
Michael the Demon.
I feel like I could probably relate
Bring
to that.
back Michael.
I feel like, if you like love Star Wars and you're like, God, I just want to you read your Star Wars book again and you're just like, I love this bit. Oh, that bit's good. Oh, that's so cool. Like,
they love Star Wars. Don't forget how much I love Star Wars.
And it was all there, and all the pictures of Joni, and it was like, the box of answers was kind of like, it was just sort of like, we need to just fast forward this now.
The pictures of, the photographs of, like, here's the actual photograph of my family, and here's that same picture in a ritual I performed with my naked friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did we think of the probably more traditional horror movie bit where she is possessed and she's crawling on the walls?
I thought the film had earned it. At that point, I just felt like in terms of like an accumulation of reactions, which is, often what a horror movie is. I felt by that point we mentioned her hanging in the corner, and you're right, it is like a spider, and I didn't know. I was watching it on the big screen we've got in the office, so I didn't know if I would have.
You fool!
If I'd have noticed it at home, I was kind of thinking like, am I seeing this because I'm sat very close to a massive screen, and otherwise I might not have noticed it. But then I think that it's great to play that sense of, is that? Oh, fucking hell. It is. And then you're not sure what's going to happen, and then for the shot to change slightly and for her to very visibly just crawl along the wall. You're in a space of, you were defeated. You're a bit like Peter, just waiting for a fucking demon to enter your body at that point. And I think the reaction is great. I think if it had happened earlier, you'd be like, whoa, crazy. And then I was just like,
yeah,
which I think is.
I enjoyed the different times of noticing, because I noticed it fairly soon, and said to my wife Chantal, who I was watching it with last night, oh, she's She's on the wall behind him, and then just hearing her be like, "Oh my god," because she hadn't noticed.
Yeah.
It's quite. You could probably go for that entire scene without noticing. 'Cause she's very dark. She doesn't move.
Yeah.
And then it's a little bit more obvious when he goes into the lounge. She's in the corner of that room as well.
Yeah, well, at some point they focus pull there as well,
Yeah.
so you literally just see her intently watching him.
I hadn't realised that the film had a sort of a quite strict rule that you release someone's spirit by taking the head off. So when she starts to saw her own head off, I was just thinking like, oh, this film's really putting me through some stuff. You know what I mean? Just like, well, now this
It's
is
just the way she's looking as well.
That is such a horrible bit.
So is Pie Man in the pigeon? Maybe right at the start.
maybe.
Oh my God.
Maybe that's the
The
delivery.
pigeon's like, oh, for God's sake,
Yeah, it's
you've cooled me down, and I'm in here.
It's a messenger pigeon.
Just bangs into the
We've
window.
really, really fucked the ritual up, guys.
Yeah.
I think Pyman's in this fucking.
They're going to be in trouble. They're going to be in big fucking
Pigeon.
big trouble, guys.
The other 7 kings of hell are going to be furious. I really liked when she's cutting the head off the pigeon. There's just, is it a random cultist lady, right? Is it just across the road?
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah.
Thank God it's out the pigeon and it's in Charlie. I think that's all
Yeah,
right.
phew.
Oh,
no
God.
one needs to know.
Don't-
What were you phoning me about? Nothing. Don't worry about it. It's all sorted. All fine. All on track.
Voicemail about pigeons.
Yeah. Have you got the dead deer? Just so good. Good. We are go. We are go for plan A.
Jodie's like, carve it into the lamppost. Symbol into that lamppost. Yeah.
Should we just do every lamppost? Just in
Yeah,
case?
well, it doesn't need to be
It
this one.
needs to be a prequel film to Hereditary. Where it is like
We should just see all the
cult-
behind the scenes.
Setting it all up.
Doing
Put
all
the nuts in the
handles,
cake.
Yeah.
Cool.
taking all their clothes off all the time.
I was just wondering,
do
where are
did
they?
they get to the house naked?
Yeah.
Or did they get to the house and take their clothes off?
Yeah. They're all just neatly.
Is that what
sort of-
Pie Man likes, you think? Well, they're all in the treehouse. Make sure you're naked, bow.
He
Some of
loves
them-
this.
Some of them have got robes.
He
but
loves
some
this.
of them don't. I don't know what.
If there are 8 kings of hell, how do you choose one as well? Why? Someone must have
They
been like,
probably
I like,
found
I
the
like
one
Pyman.
that promised untold riches. So
Yeah,
like,
is
oh, this
that-
sounds like a good one. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
that picture.
What are the
where-
others offering? I mean, surely
don't
that's
know.
all they really offer is like, well, riches. Like, what else do you want? I offer just like
Hot
a
dogs.
Just, yeah. Just,
The hot dog king
yeah.
of
I mean, they're all
pandemonium.
amazing. Yeah.
Hot dog king of pandemonium. I'm glad
Yeah,
we've
there's just
had-
Nathan's scrawled into the wall.
Nathan's famous hot dogs.
That's why I've mentioned
That's
it. Yes,
good.
yes,
I thought
thank
you meant me. Sorry.
No, Nathan's.
I'm glad we've had some fun talking about Hereditary.
Yeah, I needed something. Also, last night I watched it. I watched it in my living room, and the film ended, and I stood up and I stood on a slug.
You know who was in that slug?
Oh my god! Oh no!
It's flying around your house now.
What did Holly think of the film?
She only watched from about 20 minutes in to about
25 minutes in.
40 minutes before the end. But she, she was just like, I've got to go to bed. But she was like, can I watch this? Have you rented it or did you buy it? I only rented it, but I think she's got today to watch it. But she was really, again, like, it was the car crash effect. She couldn't look away, even though she was I'm so scared.
Did anyone notice? You probably noticed, Dave, as someone who always notices the audio, but the horrible low frequency throbbing that I think lasts for a good 30 minutes at the beginning until it stops finally.
No,
then
I-
it starts up again a little bit later.
I didn't, but admittedly, I did have the audio turned down a little bit.
I see.
Because I was scared. Horror movie audios, that's the one. That's the reason I don't think I can watch horror movies in the cinema, because the audio is so good in the cinema and usually so loud.
It's
It's
just
just
as a
like-
test of our, because I think sometimes we've had this installation at the office. And
Yeah.
when we moved in, we wanted like a nice place to watch movies and stuff that we make as well. And so we've got it's got a surround sound system which is installed into the ceiling in that room. And depending on the feed, like if you feed it with like a good mixed on a Blu-ray or whatever, like you can tell it's quite good. But I think that at various times, sometimes we've streamed stuff in there and gone, is this just coming out the front speakers?
Yeah.
I can tell you from that Hereditary uses the surround sound system thoroughly,
Brilliant.
and but it's just like.
Yeah.
Oh no, the click.
And they come from fucking all over, and I was sat because it was just me. Bang in the middle of the room.
Oh, Jesus.
So those motherfuckers were coming at me from all angles.
There's
Yeah.
the one that's quite loud where she's in the car by herself.
Yes.
And all of a sudden you just hear the click
Yeah.
quite
Yes.
close to her ear.
Yeah.
Somewhere, a sound designer, an audio engineer mixed that movie just for you. Like, so few people will have had the experience that you had, where someone will be in a different part of the cinema, don't quite get the...
Sure,
But you
yeah.
were right centre, like the perfect listening spot.
It did make me think, in the cinema especially, that would have been a really... And it's made sense of a few TikToks I've seen with that noise in.
Right.
I'm much happier about that now. So.
It's always my ears that I cover when I'm scared in the cinema. It's that I'm like,
Right.
or not in the cinema, like
Or you
watching
just
this movie
shut your
last
eyes
night
as well.
I had my hand over my head.
Shut your ears, Marion.
It's not my eyes that I'm not so worried about what I will see. It's the sudden loud noises and the weird little sounds that you half hear and you're like, what was that? Like that is the stuff that gets me.
It's only
That's
the
stuff I'm
hearing
scared of.
is what teases you into the...
Yeah.
and it's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
We should talk about what's coming up. Because I decided last night, because I had to write that post.
Yes.
So I'm not even sure that Rob knows.
I saw the post. I know what's coming up.
Great.
I haven't seen the poster. I don't know.
Well, the 2 bonus episodes, I sort of just decided what we were doing.
I
So
see.
hope
It made
that's
sense
okay.
to me.
So one of them to be a discussion of, because there was my list of films I could have chosen was quite long, maybe nearly 10 films. And I thought we could just discuss maybe decide a few genres. What's our top film? Or we could just have a discussion about what makes the films that we're looking at different from Marvel films, which was the kind of the point of the original comment was, yes, genre movie making in the last sort of 10 or 15 years has been dominated by this particular mode, which has become quite monolithic and a bit glib. What else has been going on, and why did we make the choices that we did have? And then perhaps after that, community poll for a film which everybody would like us to watch, which is in the same theme as this, a bit like our 1991 season where we all chose a favourite and then our community chose a favourite.
No more horror though.
Well, so much of it is horror because I
Something
think
fun.
we've been through, I think a couple of reasons. We'll talk more about this on the bonus episode, but horror is one of the things which hasn't failed at the box office.
Well, horror as a genre, it seems to be like there seems to be more and more of it every year.
Yeah.
More in games, more in movies. Like
I think it's because it works in terms of like people talk about how comedies don't really work or they don't really make they're less reliable at the box office now, and we like the box office is more challenged than ever. But for whatever reason, in the era of horror has stayed pretty consistent.
It's able to tap into whatever bad thing is happening at the time. I remember in the height of the pandemic, 2020-21, someone made that film called Host, I think it was called. It's about an hour long, and it's all filmed on a Zoom call. It's like 15 people on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
And I have refused to watch it because I keep hearing how incredibly well made and incredibly scary it is.
Yeah.
I keep getting, our friend...
Don't say that on the podcast,
Louise, who's, renowned for liking horror.
Yes.
He's always going, you've got to watch Host. No, I'm too scared.
yeah.
But yeah, horror, it's like it can never be made redundant, can it? As a genre, I don't think. It's like plumbers. People always need plumbers. There's always bad things that horror movies can
the same thing.
Yeah.
They're the
Can
plumbers of the movie world.
They are.
But you can make them for low budget, and you can make great trailers
True.
about them.
Oh, yeah.
And Louise works at Blumhouse.
Yes.
And that's a public thing. She's been on at games shows and stuff, and they are the people they're the production house which have really specialised in that kind of thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if it Get Out. You talked about doing Under the Skin, Dave.
Get Out, so good.
I kind of talked you out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I understood the brief very well, and I didn't read the comment, so I was just picking good movies from that, and mostly I wanted Rob to see Under the Skin, which I would like to do at some point.
Do you know? I felt so. We had this discussion, and because the idea of genre movie in my head, like from the 80s and 90s specifically, there's the idea of a genre movie which is like an uncomplicatedly commercial film. But sometimes, if you're a Tony Scott or you're a Shane Black or whatever, you're making just a really good one. And I think that's probably slightly limited. But I do think Hereditary is obviously a horror movie. I think with Under the Skin, it's like an art house director who recently won an Oscar for a later film, and it's so obviously incredibly unusually stylistic and esoteric. And I kind of feel like, is that a genre movie in the same way? So that's why I was kind of like,
I didn't disagree. Otherwise, I would have said no.
We're watching.
So are we watching Under the Skin?
We're watching. Dave, what's your film?
Dread. Yeah. Have you seen Dread?
I've seen the first hour of it before the cinema we were watching it in was having audio problems, and we were forced to watch another film instead.
Oh,
we
no.
watched Broken Flowers, didn't we, with Bill Murray?
I can't remember what we watched.
Oh, were you also watching it?
Yeah, it was a friend's birthday.
Oh, okay, right. Well, there you go.
Theatre. And I was very close to choosing a movie called Blue Ruin, just in case there's anyone who really likes Blue Ruin out there.
Yeah.
Jeremy Saulnier movie. Really, really like Blue Ruin. Maybe people vote for Blue Ruin, but I instead chose Edge of Tomorrow. Tom Cruise.
I thought about that one when I was looking at sci-fi movies. It's a great movie. Wasn't it actually called something else?
Kill, die, forever or something.
No, genuinely, yes. No, it had something repeat.
Yeah,
it was called Live, Die, Repeat.
Or
certainly, did they change it?
They did change it, I believe, and I can't even remember which one was the original one.
No, me neither. Well, I would have thought the original one was Edge of Tomorrow, and then they changed it to Live, Die, Repeat, but only because it's more what the movie is. Have you seen Edge of Tomorrow or Live, Die, Repeat?
No.
Oh,
great. Well, this is cool.
Ah, that's cool. It's a Tom Cruise movie that you may enjoy from the director of The Bourne Identity.
I think you will enjoy it.
I watched Oblivion with Tom Cruise, which I didn't like.
That's fine. It's not related. Make sure you don't read anything or think about this movie in any way before we watch it.
Great.
So which one are we doing next?
Well,
Dread.
we're doing Dread next. Then we're doing Edge of Tomorrow. We've got the bonus episode where we rank genre movies, and we'll be also watching a community voted movie. And then we arrive at Alien Earth.
Yes.
Where we will be reacting
week on week on Earth
to the new episode or episodes. I believe the first week they're dropping episodes 1 and 2. So our first Alien Earth episode will be a reaction to the first 2 episodes, and then each episode as they release.
And the cadence is that they're released on Tuesdays, and then our podcast is as far away from that as possible.
It's basically like that was
a great way to tee up the next day.
one's coming.
I wonder if we should consider shifting.
No.
But who knows?
No, just make it easy for ourselves.
Yeah.
Give us a long time to digest the episode.
It's a perfect thing because you want to, the day before you watch the next episode, the new episode, you've got our recap.
I thought they were coming out on Wednesdays. Maybe it's Tuesdays in the US and Wednesdays
you
here.
might be right. Yeah, you might be correct there. That's less of a thing.
Yeah.
We should say goodbye.
That's what we're doing. I hope you all enjoyed listening to us talk about Hereditary. I hope if you've watched Hereditary for the first time because of this podcast, hope you enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments on Patreon or on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on YouTube what you think. And we will be back next week with Dread. See you then. You've been listening to Redshirt Cinema Club. If you're enjoying the podcast, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Just check the link in the description. We'd also love to hear from you. Email us at redshirtcinemaclub@gmail.com or follow us on social media. We'll be back with another episode next Monday. See you then.